I kind of wish that I recorded this on a Sunday, but I didn't find this quote on a Sunday, so I guess I just have to deal with it. But this is from Jersey Shore's Pauly D. He says, "You don't come in here on a Sunday with a big banana and expect everything to be peaches." Now, I think he's trying to make some sort of lesson about life. What I took from it is that you're not supposed to completely expect every situation to go smoothly, and that's probably about the most valuable thing that I would pick up from this entire process, because I have to now explain to you just how badly reality TV can dumb you down. I wish I was exaggerating. So, when it comes to reality TV, there was three things that I was looking at that seemed to almost dumb down our culture. So we look at the encouragement of poor behavior for more attention and fame, the exploitation of personal issues for attention and fame, and also giving young audiences unrealistic expectations and worldviews. So right off the bat, we can talk about the encouragement of deviant behavior. And of course, I have to use deviant carefully because deviant would just kind of mean against the norm. And that's not always a terrible thing. But when we're looking at the influence that these shows have specifically, we're not talking about things that are breaking social norms always. Now, these shows have given some opportunities for like minority groups to really have an opportunity in TV. That is one positive that we can absolutely take from this. But at the same time, that's something we can talk about later with the counterclaims. The deviant behavior has become a real issue. We see it across social media. We see it across the news. We really have to have these discussions because it keeps spreading, and kids are really impressionable. In an article by Aubrey Rankin, she talked about a study by the PTC that was looking at reality TV shows overall and the patterns that you see in the way they are, scripted. Because obviously they're supposed to be, less scripted. That's the whole basis of reality TV. But a lot of them still tend to, they're getting pushed in a certain direction. Certain things are supposed to still happen in episodes. So, anyway, the PTC looked into these, and there was a lot of, in a majority of the shows, it was sexualized content and foul language. Now, overall, this isn't really the issue in itself. It's the fact that these shows are really marketed to younger audiences, and these shows are really pushed on like social media, and the way they're advertised, it's not reaching 21 and over or 18 and over. Like there's teenagers and younger kids that are finding this stuff just on Snapchat, and you can see the effect that seeing these acts on these shows, when people start fighting, when people start acting out, when people start destroying things just for the sake of creating drama, just start arguing and yelling these things at each other, these kids pick up on it. And with the trend with like deviant licks, we saw, it's a goofy name, I know, but like we saw that across the internet. We saw kids vandalizing schools for the sake of views and likes. They were taking sinks out of bathrooms and destroying mirrors. And the whole idea of you have to be destructive and you have to be completely against any authority, really creates a divide, and it creates an unhealthy way to look at being a positive influence or some sort of role model or famous figure. And what that leads into is more of the exploitation of the situations these people are in. Some of these people are a bit tight on money. They're in rough situations. We're talking pregnancies and addictions. You see it with intervention shows and with just, like Mind Strange addiction, although, of course, we don't really know how much of that is legitimate. And you see that with child stars. You see that across Hollywood and even in places like where Nickelodeon was producing shows, and they had issues with Dan Schneider when he was producing, some allegations there before he died. Some really dark stuff. A lot of these kids are being exploited into a bubble that's really focused on attention and money, and eventually into a world that's really sexualized and not focused on core values and education and learning about what life has to offer as much as it is the entertainment business and bringing them up to be an image. So These all have like very negative psychological effects on kids that we see end up affecting them later in life when they come out of these shows and they lose their fame. A lot of them become drug addicts, or they run into these situations where they're low on money, or they're just hurting because they're not the center of it all anymore. It's all they ever knew. So that also leads into the expectations that are created in these situations. You look at unattainable beauty standards with not just, the way that these people will be forced to almost starve themselves. And, there's a lot of eating disorders involved with these modeling shows, which influences teenagers because they feel they need to be looking that way. They don't understand the editing. They don't understand the Photoshop with the pictures in the magazines, maybe. It sets it sets really high standards on how much wealth you should have, how much you feel you should be sitting with, even from a young age, because there's a lot of people that have enough money sitting around to go rent out Lambos and look good on TV, or look good on social media, and then other kids that don't understand what's going on there, they feel they need to be there and they aren't. So what people really, or specifically these more vulnerable audiences that are watching these shows, don't understand is that life is not carefully crafted and kind of guided along like these shows are. Certain things just aren't going to work out. You may not ever reach that goal, but that goal shouldn't have been something to look for in the first place, because it put the priorities in the wrong spot. You were thinking about how much money should I be holding on to? What kind of cars and, what cool clothes should I be wearing when you're dealing with other issues? So when you look at counterclaims, the biggest thing that is argued for with reality TV is this entertainment value. They're cheaper shows to make. You're bringing up people that may be in desperate situations, or people that are just starting out in the, sort of TV acting world, and they don't have a lot of attention to them. You don't have to pay them as much, and you're building up off the drama. So the drama in itself sells. We know this. We know that drama and causing tension generally pushes these shows a lot further along than if everybody is just having a kumbaya moment and having a great time. So you see that across the board. You see that in sports, especially with fighting, or people love when football teams start talking trash. They eat that stuff up. So when it comes to entertainment value, it's certainly higher. But you have to ask yourself, do you value entertainment value over the possible consequences of who is seeing these shows, what information's getting put out there, and what influences are being spread across the board? And also is parental involvement. When you're looking at younger audiences getting involved, some people are probably asking, where's the parents? Where are they to influence their kids to make sure they understand that a lot of the things they see on these shows are wrong, and that they shouldn't follow in that direction in the first place? And what you could really say in the parents' defense in that part is that with the advancement of phones and technology, as your kids getting older, it's going to become almost impossible to really try to keep track of what's within their internet activity. And I mean, I'm not trying to argue necessarily that parents would have to hound their kids for that and constantly look at their phones and what they're doing. But with where reality TV is advertised across social media, it's almost everywhere. And people really, really enjoy talking about the drama. So it seems almost unavoidable. So even though these shows offer that entertainment value and some opportunities for younger actors and actresses, or people that just are looking for another breakthrough or some sort of push, it still also comes with a lot of these unhealthy messages and sort of habits behind the shows. So to conclude, I feel that reality TV has been effective in dumbing down American culture through these ideas, through encouraging people to seek attention, through acting out, through getting very personal about people and exploiting their struggle and really putting that out there and just letting things escalate. And also just putting out unrealistic expectations across the board. It almost kind of takes away a sense of hope from a lot of people who may be working for some sort of goal similar to what they're seeing on TV, but they may not reach it. So, you look at the effect across social media and TikTok, you see the selling points of causing drama, um, and using what sells, but it comes with these consequences. You're gonna see negative mental health effects. You're gonna see people acting out. You're gonna see things kind of unfold in a negative way, as much as you may see some positive in the money side, or maybe people just being exposed to something they're not used to. Um, I certainly had to learn from this. I had to educate myself on reality TV, so I hope I was able to give you something from this, because I had to pull up quite a bit just to understand what I was talking about, and I also feel a little bit dumbed down after. So, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you around.